it's Nina with Walla Stamping. Thanks for joining me today. This is the project that I would like to share with you. It is a box that I made for Valentine's, of course, and I designed it to hold 2 treats. My thought process was to put some cookies on this side and then maybe some chocolates on this side. Now you could certainly leave this insert out and just use it without it, but that was my thinking when I created this box. So let me show you what all we're going to need to create this. First of all, I decided to make it with craft cardstock instead of Real Red or Whisper White. I wanted this box just to have a little more of a rustic look to it, a crafty kind of a look. So that's why I decided to use this paper. So the bottom of the box is made with a piece of craft cardstock, and this is cut to 12 by 11. Then the box lid is cut out of the same cardstock, and it is 8 1/8 by 7 1/8. Then the insert piece is cut to 7 7/8 by 3. And designer series paper that I'm using comes from the Sending Love designer series paper stack, and I have used this quite a bit. There's all my little bits and pieces that I have left over from this stack. So in order to put these around the outside of the box here on the bottom, these are the pieces that I have. There's 2, and these are cut to 3 7/8 by 1 7/8. Then I have 2 more, and these are cut to 2 7/8 by 1 7/8. Then for the top of the box, I have 1 piece that is cut to 4 by 3. These 2 pieces are cut to 4 by 7/8, and these 2 pieces are cut to 3 by 7/8. Then you'll need a couple of scraps, a piece of Real Red and a piece of Whisper White, and we're going to be using that to cut out the medallion, the banner, and some of the hearts here. And then for some of the other hearts, I just have a couple of really small scrap pieces of red glimmer and silver glimmer paper. Now to cut out the medallion, y'all know that one of my favorite things is the layering circles framelits. So we're going to be using these 3 to cut out this medallion, and I will have those sizes on the screen for you, as well as on the printable instruction sheet on my website. So that's going to cut out the medallion. And to stamp the sentiment with, I'm going to be using the Sealed with Love stamp set, and I'm going to be using the Love You Lots to stamp that with. And also to cut out the hearts and the envelope, I'm going to be using this piece for the envelope and this one for the hearts, and this is the Love Notes framelit dies. These 2 actually go together, and they can be purchased separately, but if this is something that you're interested in to make some goodies for people for Valentine's, if you purchase them as a bundle and use the bundle number, you'll actually save 10% off the cost. So that's the Sealed with Love and the Love Notes framelit dies to do all of this other with. And I'm going to be stamping the Love You Lots with my Real Red Classic ink pad. Alright, so let's get started on this. And also, I forgot to mention, I have a kit here, and it is all ready to go. Everything is scored and ready to be folded, and all the papers are cut out for you. So if you will click on the link, which is below the video in the description box, and go to this post and make a comment, I will be drawing a name and someone will win this kit. Alright, so let's move some of this out of the way, and we will start off by scoring. So let me get my Simply Score, bring that in here, and I'm going to put my paper in on the 12-inch side. And first I'm going to score at 2 inches, 4, 8, oops, I slipped on the track there, 8 and 10. Then I'm going to turn it so that the 11-inch side is at the top, and I'm going to score at 2, 4, 7, and 9. Okay, now I've actually already scored this once, but my video camera went nutsy, so I had to start all over again. But let me go ahead and tell you what these scores are. So this is the box lid, and on the side that is 8 1/8, we're going to score at 1, 2, 6 1/8, and 7 1/8. Then we're going to turn it so that the 7 1/8 side is at the top, and we're going to score this one at 1, 2, 5 1/8, and 6 1/8. Now the 1/8 measurements might throw you off, but the reason that I'm doing this is because it'll make more sense when I'm putting the box together. But the way that I've got this scored, I wanted this box to be a little extra sturdy. There's the score lines. So this rectangle here, hopefully you can see that, will become the outside of the box lid. This rectangle here, likewise here and here, these little end pieces will actually get folded in to the inside of the lid, and I've done that to make this a more sturdy box. That being said, with all of these layers of paper fitting over all of the layers that are going into the bottom of the box, you want a little extra room in there so this will fit snugly but not too tight. So that's the reason for that odd 1/8 inch measurement there. Okay, then the insert piece, we're going to score at 3 inches, at 5, and at 7. So that's all the scoring that we're going to do. Let's start cutting. I'm going to begin by cutting the bottom of the box. Now as you can see here, hopefully, let me get this down here a little bit better. There we go. There are 4 squares on each corner of this paper. The only one we're keeping is this one. So the outside 3 we're going to be cutting away on all 4 corners. And we'll do that by cutting straight up this score line here. And we're going to stop once we reach the second score line. Then repeat that right here. Okay, then turn it, and on this score line, which there's the first one, so on the second score line, cut straight up and remove this piece right here. And actually, that is a big enough piece that if you needed to cut something out small in your big shot, you can do that. So don't throw those away, hang on to them. Then we're going to cut this score line and lose this little piece. Alright, so we'll do that exact same thing on this other side. Cut straight up that score line. Stop once you reach the second horizontal. Repeat that on this score line. Then we're going to get rid of these 2 squares and this square. Now, I'm going to fold this back out of the way, and these 2 small tabs are going to get folded to the inside of the box. So to make them fit more easily, I am going to trim some of this off. Just a small little wedge on both of these small tabs. Alright, then I'm going to unfold that, and there are 2 rectangles here. This rectangle, like I said before, will be folded to the inside of the box. And I'm going to come in here with my scissors and trim a small wedge off up to that first score line. But when I say small, I mean little bitty, like a 1/16 of an inch small. So do that on both sides and just go up to that first horizontal score line. So that's what you have so far. I'm going to repeat this process on this side of the box. Okay, so when you're done with your trimming, this is what the bottom of your box is going to look like. Now we're going to do the exact same thing with the top of our box. On the second score line here, cut straight up and stop at the second horizontal. Cut straight up this one and do the same thing. Get rid of these two squares and this bottom square. Repeat on the right side. Alright, there is your box lid, and that is all the cutting and the trimming that we have to do with that. So let's go ahead and start assembling the box. Now what I'm going to assemble mine with is my fast fuse. And I'm going to run a couple of strips on each of these 4 tabs. Then I'm going to fold those up. Actually, I should have folded and burnished everything before I did that. So while I've got those folded up so that they don't stick to my table, let me find my bone folder and we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I think I got it all. So what I want to do is I need to put adhesive on these pieces. So right now the adhesive is right here, and I need to put adhesive here. So let me back up for a second. Let me rewind. I laid it down like this and put adhesive on the small tabs. So now I'm going to fold those in so that they don't stick to my table. And I'm going to put adhesive on the insides of these because they're going to get stuck down to the inside of the box. So let's just use some fast fuse to do this with as well. I hope that isn't confusing. Okay, so first things first, we're going to assemble the box. That. Get these sides put together, and sometimes if those are in my way as I'm trying to work, I will just move them back. And a lot of times I'll go in with my bone folder and just make sure that I've got that fast fuse stuck down. Okay, now we're going to start folding these in. So I'm going to fold in the larger ones first. Get that stuck down, do the opposite side, and here is the reason why I decided to cut a small piece out of that. Is if you don't, when you get ready to fold it to the inside of your box, it's going to be just that little smidgen too wide, and it won't look pretty on the inside of the box. So that's the reason that I trim just a little bit off. So I'm going to go in with my bone folder, make sure that that's pressed down and stuck really nicely, and then I'm going to sharpen those edges along the box there really good. Okay, so there's the box bottom. The next thing that we want to do is fold and burnish our insert. Now, I started out this way, and you've got the 3-inch portion, 2 2-inch portions, and then a 1-inch portion. So you're going to want to do a mountain valley fold on this. On that 3-inch line, you're going to fold it valley style, like that, okay? Then on the first 2-inch line, you're going to do a mountain, and then another valley. So this is what you're going to end up with. Maybe it would make more sense to do it that way. When you get finished. And then what I like to do is run a couple strips of fast fuse here along where these score lines are, and then stick the backs of those together. So then that's what you'll end up with right there. And you can choose to or not to put adhesive on the bottom to adhere that in your box. It stays in there nicely, so it's not absolutely necessary to put adhesive on there. And this way, if you don't use the adhesive, when somebody gets this box, if they want to reuse it but they don't want the insert in there, they can certainly take that out. So that's your insert inside. And next thing we're going to do is put the box lid together. Okay, so here's the top. Let's go ahead, fold and burnish all of our score lines. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit different way of putting your adhesive on this one from the way that I did it before. Before I had it turned over right side up and I put adhesive here and here and then flipped it over. Well, the thought occurred to me in that process, why couldn't I just lay it on its top, have it to the inside like this, put my adhesive here, and not have to worry about flipping it back and forth, and then I can just go ahead and lay down my adhesive on these pieces. So either way will work. I just think this way may be a little bit easier. Alrighty, so we're going to assemble the box top just like we did the bottom. Get those small tabs folded into place and stuck down. You could always use liquid glue here if you wanted to, or you could even use tear and tape. Fuse is just faster. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do the longer sides first, get those folded in, then the smaller sides. And like on the bottom, I'm going to use my bone folder and get in there and make sure that that's pressed down really nicely and get those edges sharp. Okay, so let's make sure that the bottom and the top fit together. Yes, they do. So these two are the larger ones, which will go on the long side of the box. When I do this, I don't put a heck of a lot of glue. I just wiggle it back and forth and try to make sure that I do get glue as close to the edges as possible. Then just bring in my box and lay it on its side. And I'll tell you the reason that I'm using liquid glue here instead of the fast fuse is because it gives me a little wiggle room. Once I get that laid down, if I have it not square or crooked in some way, I have an opportunity to fix that. Okay, let's do the second piece. I just really love this Sending Love Designer Series paper pad. It's got so much paper in it. There we go. Got the bottom in there. Got it all decorated. Now we'll do the lid. So this larger piece is going to go on the top. See what I mean? If I put my paper down and I don't have it square, I have just a couple of seconds to move it there. Okay, so we got all of our Designer Series paper on the outside of our box now. The next thing that you're going to want to do is build your medallion and get all of these pieces and parts cut out and then start assembling everything. So let me move this out of the way and get my big shot and we'll get started with that. I think I forgot to mention that you also need a scrap piece of your craft cardstock. I know I told you you needed Real Red and Whisper White. I don't think I told you you needed the craft cardstock scrap piece, but you will. And I will make sure that I do add that to the list of items needed in the instruction sheet. Okay, so I've got everything cut out for the decorative part of the top of the box. First, let's put the medallion together. And I began doing that by just using some snail and placing some on the back of my real red cardstock and then centering that up with the craft cardstock, and then I repeat that with the Whisper White and center that within the real red. And so that was easy peasy. So then you're going to take your little envelope, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but when you run your paper through with this die cut, it actually goes ahead and it scores it for you. So your score lines are there. You'll know exactly where to fold everything. So we're just going to fold those down, and I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder and get those folds really nice and sharp. Okay, then for this, you know me, got to have my glue dots, so I'm just going to use a glue dot to hold this together. I'll stick both of those down, put my glue dot here on the tip, and fold that up. So your little envelope is made. Then I'm going to attach it to the top of my medallion, just using some snail. Put that about right there. Then I'm going to build my little heart embellishment here, and there's no cut and dried way to do this. I've just cut a variety of hearts out here. I've got 3 white, 2 real red, and then 1 each of the glimmer papers. And of course my glue dots. Y'all know that I love glue dots because they're so quick and handy, and they're really a strong adhesive. So I love, love, love using glue dots. Any opportunity that I have, I am going to put them to work for me. And like I said, you can build this any way you choose. It doesn't have to look just like mine. You can do yours in a different type of pattern if you want to. You can have them coming out of your envelope in a different direction, just whatever you want to do. It is your project. You make it your own and add your own style to it. You certainly don't have to cut out hearts in the same color scheme as I have. You could do them more red if you wanted to. You could do them all one color. Whatever you feel strikes your fancy. Go for it. So that's how I've got those done. And then of course I'm going to flip that over and use a couple more glue dots on the back to stick that inside the envelope. So I'll wiggle that down in there, stick that down, and then on the edge of my box I'm going to put a couple more of these hearts. Well, my little glue dot is sticking to, there we go. Then I'm going to attach that to the top of the box using some dimensionals. Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of my medallion. I'm just using 3 because I want this standing up off the top of the box a little bit to give it a little more depth. And I like my envelope kind of turned to the side a little bit. Get that in the center. There we go. Peel the backing off that, put that up in the corner. And as you can see, oopsie, oh, my backing didn't come off. As you can see, this one even looks a little bit different from that one. So like I said, you can create your hearts spilling out however you want to. So next, let's get our little sentiment stamped. So I'm using Real Red Classic ink. I've got my sentiment here. And here is that scrap piece of paper. I'm just going to stamp it on here. And this one is very small, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, I have a tendency to want to rock. So I'm going to try to stamp it straight down. See, I rocked it a little bit. I don't know why I do that. I think it's because I'm thinking about it and I know I don't need to do that, and then my subconscious makes me do it. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just crazy. So then I'm going to take, I'm sure that this is called the Classic Label Punch, and I'm going to center my sentiment in there, get it lined up, punch that out, and then as you can see, the edge of this has a sort of a V-shaped cut to it, and this is too big to put on here anyway, I feel like. I mean, you might like it like that, and if this is how you want to leave it, then that's great. But I wanted to cut mine off and make it have more of a little banner edge to it. So I'm going to slide it back into my punch, find the last letter there, get that centered up, and punch. Then I'm going to turn it around and repeat that process over here on this side. There you go. Okay, move all that out of the way. And then I'm going to also use some dimensionals to stick that down. And I'm just going to cut one of these loose that are a half size. Stick that on the back of that. And then put that right in the middle of that envelope right there. So there we are. Okay, so here are our two boxes. Now let me show you what I'm going to put inside. So I just really didn't love this little insert that I made with this vellum, and I'm going to try something a little bit different. So let's see if this works. So there's a couple of cookies. I'm going to put that inside this little piece of vellum and wrap those up, and then let's just slide those down into the box just like that. So you can fold those over like that or leave them open, whatever you want to do. And then I have these Jordan almonds. I don't know if you guys have ever had these before, but it's a candy coated almond, and I love these. I could make a meal off of them. I love them so much. So I'm just going to take a few of these and drop them right down in on this side of the box. Put my lid on. And there is a sweet Valentine treat for somebody. This would be a really good thing to have for coworkers or teachers or anybody that you wanted to give a special little treat to on Valentine's Day. And you know, in my opinion, Valentine's Day doesn't have to be only for a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever. I love giving gifts to people for any occasion, and Valentine's is one of those occasions that I like getting in my kitchen and baking up some goodies and giving them to people. So this is our project for today. And remember, go over to my website. The link is in the description box below the video. Go over and make a comment on this project, and you will be entered in a drawing to win this kit. And also, I would love for you all to subscribe to my YouTube channel and give me a thumbs up. And when you go to my website, if you would like to receive a newsletter, over on the right hand side, there's a place for you to insert your name and email address. I would love to include you in my monthly emails. That is where you will find out about online classes and promotions and freebies and special sales and that kind of thing. So please sign up for my newsletter as well. And I hope that you all have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you soon.